Hey guys, this is John with CheatSheetPros.com. Today we're going to take a look at some NFL bets for Week 5. It is October 8th. If you've watched any of the other videos, I feel like crap. I've been sick all week, but I'm going to go ahead and put up some games. I think NFL is going to be a little bit difficult this week, but I've got 3 straight wagers that I'm considering, and then my favorite play is going to be a 3-team 10-point teaser, and then we'll run through game by game. Let me go ahead and show you the plays that I'm looking at. So the 3-team 10-point teaser, I'm going to take Tampa Bay from -10 down to pick. I'm going to take Minnesota -10 down to pick since they're playing at home. And then Buffalo's +2.5. I'm going to take them up to 12.5 due to the lack of defense Kansas City's been playing. And then the straight wagers we're going to look at are Saints, Jets, and Titans. Let's go ahead and take a look, and we'll flip through all of the games. So last night, the Rams in Seattle played. Let me pull up the final on this. Our cheat line had it as Rams -6, and we had a projected score of 28-22. The final was 26-18, so fairly close on that one. Not too bad. We did lean Rams. I put it on a teaser and took Rams +7.5. And then Coastal Carolina, I took from 19.5 down to 9.5, so I hit both of those. So I have a couple different teasers going into Sunday with just one game left on them. I know one of them has Tampa money line. I can't remember what the other one has. But let's go ahead and take a look. Apologize if I take a break, take a drink in between games. So when we're on the NFL Stacks tab, this is where I recommend to go to look at everything for sports betting. So we're going to look at game number 1 is Miami at Tampa Bay. Line opened 9.5, now 10. B index line 9.5, so right about the same. Cheat line has 11, so I think that's fair. We're projecting this game somewhere around 27-17, 28-17, so I don't like laying the 10 points here. You can see Tampa's defense, they're really good against the rush, but against the pass, they rank dead last, giving up 327.5 passing yards per game. I don't have faith in Brissett, but again, I don't want to lay that many points, especially after last week, what I saw in New England. I would rather tease this down to pick because I know Tampa can win the game. They are at home, and if it comes down to a last-second drive, Brady can get us there for the win. So Tampa, teasing them down from -10 to pick is the first game on my teaser. And then Philadelphia at Carolina. We didn't have a play on this, but looking at it, Carolina opened at 4 -3. CMC could be back, play this week. Bobby Index has the line similar to Vegas. We have Carolina -5.5. I would lean Carolina here. I have not bet it yet. It's a game that's in consideration for me. You can see the majority of the money is on the Carolina side. And one of the things that comes out to me is the efficiency. Carolina has been playing really well, and the defense is ridiculous, with the exception of last week where they it got away from them a little bit and they got exposed, but I think they were missing one of their top corners. You can see over here in yards allowed, 10th least rushing yards allowed, 2nd least passing yards allowed per game. And then when you're looking at points allowed, 16.5. So if you tease this the other way and go across 0, that's a big no-no. But if you do it with Carolina, they are allowing not very many points, so any points you get would be a bonus. So we have a gap yardage. We think Carolina is going to be about 90 to 100 yards better offensively and defensively. Carolina's defense is the difference here. So Carolina is one that I'm considering playing. If CMC is active, I probably will. Sam Darnold's had a couple of games. I had him on my prize picks article that I'm going to write today, and I think his pass yards were over 250.5, and he's been over 300 the last 3 games. So if you're playing prize picks or betting on player props, that's one I don't mind. You can see he's done really well, 20, 22, 28, 36 DK points. So hopefully CMC's back, and then they can get on the right track. Philadelphia is not bad, but you can see they're giving up a bunch of rushing yards, and Carolina can take advantage of that. So my pick here would be Carolina -3. Again, I have not bet it yet, but one I'm considering. Moving on, New Orleans over Washington. So our index rankings, we've got the number 3 team versus the number 23 team. Line open at pick went to New Orleans -2. Bobby Index has Saints favored by about 7.5. Cheat line, we've got it pretty much pick. I mean, these teams line up almost identical as far as offensive, defensive yards, efficiencies. I mean, New Orleans has the better defense, obviously. Washington has struggled this year, and both teams have been decent on offense. New Orleans, with the exception of their bad game, they have been more efficient. But when you come down here and look at the general stat breakdown for total defense, we got number 2 versus number 28, and then both offenses kind of in the same realm. So I like laying the 2 here with the Saints and going after it. And you can see down here we've got a little tested projected model. These white boxes are stuff that I track. I put them on there if you guys want to look at them. But this game we have on our tested project model, we have about the same amount of yards, but we have them winning 31-17, but I think 28-17 is a definite possible score. But literally laying 2 points is the side that I'm going to go with here. Tennessee at Jacksonville. So line open at 7.5, moved down to 4.5, so a lot of money coming in on Jacksonville, but there's a lot of cash on Tennessee. Bobby Index has it -6. We've got it -7.5. So what interests me here is our cheat line has Tennessee -7.5. We saw the shit the bed show they did last week against the Jets. Heavy money you can see here on the Tennessee side. They should get A.J. Brown and Julio Jones back this week, which is greatly going to help Ryan Tannehill, and Derrick Henry we know is a stud. Jacksonville's been prone to turnovers, so keeping them in the game is something that they're going to have to do. Not excited about the defenses here as they rank 26th and 30th, and then the offense is 24th, 27th, but I would tend to lay the 4.5 here and go with Tennessee. Moving on to Minnesota and Detroit. We've got line open Minnesota -8, moved out to -10. Minnesota on the Bobby Index is -7. Cheat line, we've got it at -1.5. So yardage wise, we think this game's going to be a little bit closer, but Minnesota is a huge home team that shows up a lot. So we like that. One of the other things that jumps out here is, where'd I go? I just lost it. So I'm sure as heck not going to lay 10 with Minnesota at home, but I love teasing it down on our teaser that we had went over, down to just them to win the game at home, because with Cousins, likely Dalvin Cook back, Thielen, Jefferson, I think they can get a home win here. Detroit's kind of a wild card. If they start slinging the ball, anything could happen, and they could slide right in this 10. So again, teasing it down, not laying the 10, but I don't want to take the Detroit side either. Our new skew line, we've got it roughly about 28-20, 29-19, 29-20, somewhere around that 7 to 10 point mark, but I think 10 is too much. If I was going to do this, if anything, I would probably tease Detroit up, but I don't like doing that against Minnesota at home. So my preferred play here would be Minnesota and teasing it down for them just to win the game at home. Denver, Pittsburgh, not going to spend a lot of time on this one. No side opened up at Pitt +2, down to pick. Some money's coming in on Pittsburgh here. They've got 89% on the spread. Bobby Index has it at 2. We've got Denver due to their defense. It's going to skew this cheat line number over to them, but we don't know if Bridgewater can win the big game. He did not look good when he did play last week, so this is a game that I'm going to pass on. Green Bay, Cincinnati, this should be an exciting game to watch. Opened at 3, now it's down to 2.5. A lot of money coming in on Cincinnati. Bobby Index has Packers -4.5. Cheat line has it pretty much pick, lean Packers, but this is real close to the spread, so I don't have a definite side on either one. When you look at the yardages on offense, neither team has been outstanding. Defensively, they're almost identical. So I think this is a good spread. With Cincinnati being at home, I'm likely going to stay away. Houston, New England, opened at 7.5, moved out to 9 due to Houston getting rolled every game. You can see the Houston defense is poor over here. They're allowing the 28th most rushing yards per game, 22nd most passing yards per game. But on offense, they also can't score, as they sit at 26th and 29th as far as a yardage mark. But New England, on the other side, I don't think they deserve to be a 9-point favorite. You can see over here their offensive yard per point is 17.5. League average is 14.8. So their offense has not been efficient at all. So I don't want to lay 9 points for sure. You can see we got 5.5 to 7.5. So I would say this line likely should be somewhere between -4 to -8 would be fair. -9 I think is criminal, and I'm not going to touch that. But again, I can't go to Houston and back them with how poor their offense and defense has been. If anything, if you love New England and you want to tease them down to just win the game, that would be fine. Putting them on a 6-point teaser going down -9 to -3 isn't terrible. I could probably get behind that with Belichick, but again, not something I'm going to put my money on. Chicago at Las Vegas. Justin Fields is now starting. Vegas coming off of a brutal loss last week. Before that, Carr had some massive games. I think he had week 1 through week 3. It was either week 1 through week 3 or week 1 and week 3. He was over 380 passing yards. So definitely if you want to look at this, it's viable. So we've got Vegas -3. Cheat line has it at -9. So this one interests me, but you have to remember that Chicago had that one really poor game where what's-his-face was calling the plays, did not give Justin Fields any opportunity. He had 7, 8, 9 sacks against him against Cleveland. So that is going to skew their yardage way down. So you would need to manually calculate this game and throw that game out to get an accurate cheat line. So I would not use it for this game. Line open at 7, down to 5.5. I'm not going either way on this one. They're good. Chicago's going to do better with Mooney, Robinson, and what's-his-face calling the plays. I can't remember his name, but they average 10 more points per game when this dude's calling the plays. And then that's probably why the line's skewing over there to him. But again, with Vegas, I don't feel confident they can lay that many points. This game could go either way. It's a 50-50 for me, so I'm likely going to stay away from it just from the skewage. It's interesting, though, the YPP model down here has it around 24-17, and I think that could be really close to what the final score is. I could definitely see that as a high likelihood. Cleveland at the Chargers. I am torn on this game. I want the Chargers. I want to bet the Chargers. It opened at pick. It went to -2. Bobby Index has it about pick. Cheat line over here, though, is pointing back to Cleveland. I hate Baker Mayfield. Chubb's killing me in season long with all the production Kareem Hunt's getting, so I cannot get behind Cleveland, but the numbers point to Cleveland, and they say the defense is why you should take Cleveland. However, Chargers played really good at home against the Raiders last week. The defense looked good. Herbert looked good. Eckler looked good. So that is, my heart tells me take the Chargers -2, but the stats are saying take Cleveland due to the defense. When we look over here at the total yardages, both teams are about the same, 389 and 391. They're doing the same thing on offense, but defensively tells another story. Cleveland is much better, allowing only 250 yards per game versus 332 for the Chargers. But again, they are both below league average, so they are good defenses. The one thing that does worry me here, and the reason I have not bet this game, is the Chargers are giving up 139.5 rushing yards, which is the 29th most on the ground, and they have a good pass defense. Well, what is the one thing Cleveland is really good at? Well, right here you can see they're number 1 in rush yards per game. They have a solid offensive line. They have Nick Chubb. They have Kareem Hunt. And they could run the ball 35, 40 times if they want to. So that's why I can't take the Chargers. And that's why the cheat line has this as Cleveland -4.5 when they're getting 2, and has them winning 28-23, 28-24. Over here in our trench tool, you can see Cleveland has the second best O-line versus the 27th D-line. And then in 5 to 10 yard runs, they're second versus Chargers are giving up. They rank 25th in 5 to 10 yard runs. Let's put it that way. Same thing in 10 plus yard runs. And then in power runs, it's kind of about the same. And then if you flip it, the Cleveland defense has the advantage over here as they rank 3rd, 1st, and 3rd against those type of runs. So Eckler's not going to have a lot of room to run. He'll probably catch a lot of screen passes, but I definitely think Cleveland is going to be in this game. If you was going to bet it, I would take Cleveland money line, let this spread go to 2.5 or 3, and put some money where you can get some plus odds there. It may be something that I parlay into a mix of 3 games where I have to wager maybe a half unit to win 3 or 4 units, so I don't go to the house on that one. Going down here to Dallas, and the New York Giants open at 8.5, It's down to 7. The Giants, after Daniel Jones threw for 400 yards last week, is getting a lot of love. We've got the Bobby Index at Dallas -5. I think that's a really good line. The cheat line, after some of the games that they've played, is going to put Dallas more a 1.5 and 28, 26, 27, 26. But when I come down here and look at this new model we're looking at, we've got it roughly about 31-21, 30-21. So really close to Dallas laying 7. So I love doing a teaser and taking Dallas on a 6-pointer from -7 to -1. They're playing at home. They're a great offense. They have a decent defense. I couldn't find any other games to put with it for a play. But if you have another game you want to put with it, I will have Dallas teased down on a 6-pointer. Don't put them on a 10, because if you go from -7 to +3, you're crossing 0. +3 is a push on a 10-point teaser, and it's a loss. So it doesn't do you any benefit. You're better off to have Dallas -1 and get better odds than you are to give up a lot of juice and go to +3 when 3 is going to kill you. So anyways, Dallas, we're going to take -7 to -1. We're going to mix it with something else. And I like that, but I'm not laying the 7. Coming down here to Arizona, this is a game I considered taking. It opened at 2.5, went to 5. I may put this on a 2-team 6-point teaser with Dallas, so that would give me Arizona +1. Which doesn't really do anything. Arizona -1 is pretty much the same thing for me, but it takes you down to picks. So we could do a Dallas, Arizona for a unit or two. I like that. Cheat line has this at -3. Index has it at -5. So if we tease it down, we're going to be inside both of these, and I feel good. Arizona's at home. They're 4-0. They're playing really well. The defense looks really good. And this is something Trey Lance is going to get a start, so I don't worry about him coming out and thumping an undefeated Arizona team at home. Moving on, we got 3 more games. So the third game in our teaser, so our 3-team 10-point teaser, which is the biggest bet I'll have this weekend, is going to be Tampa Bay, to recap, from -10 down to pick, Minnesota -10 down to pick, and then I'm going to take Buffalo, and I'm going to take this 4 that went to 2.5, put it on a 10-point teaser, and take it up to 12.5. I don't think Buffalo's going to win. I don't want Buffalo to win. If you guys have followed me, watched any videos, or been in the chat, you know I live in Kansas City. I'm a big Chiefs fan, follow the Royals, etc., but our defense is god-awful. So anytime somebody's getting 7 points on the other side, I'm going to go with it. Cheat Index, or Bobby Index, has Buffalo -4. The Cheat Index has Buffalo -15. Now, this doesn't mean Buffalo, we think, is going to win by 15. This is just showing the skew in yardage where it's going to put it. So if the cheat line is pointing at -15, that's just a game that you should earmark and say, hey, they could win this game outright. So take the points, take the money line. That's fine. I can't go against you there. Buffalo has a ridiculous defense right now, but you can put this on a teaser and go from 2.5 to 12.5, or put it on a 6-pointer with Dallas, which I love, taking Dallas from -7 down to -1, so they just got to win the game at home, and then taking Buffalo from 2.5 to 8.5, because Buffalo will be within 7.5 points of this game. Kansas City is not going to shut them out and suddenly show up on defense and just put them out of their misery. One of the things that you can look at over here, look at Buffalo's defense. They are 4th in least rushing yards allowed per game, 1st in least passing yards allowed per game. Now, Kansas City is going to score. Mahomes is going to throw the ball. He's going to have his 3 touchdowns like usual. I don't think there's anyone that's really going to shut him down like Tampa did in the Super Bowl last year. But, I mean, this right here, tells the whole story. Look at the defensive yards allowed, 4th versus 30th in rushing. And then you got passing yards, 1st versus 27th. How do you not take the points with Buffalo? This is like Coastal Carolina last night. That spread should have been -30. When it came out -19, 19.5, I was like, what? Okay, so I got to get a lot of action on this game. So Buffalo's another one. The good part about this game is it gives you kind of a late night sweat, so you can watch your noon games, your 3 o'clock games, and then you can go into this late game and say, I've got Buffalo +12.5, +8.5, and it's going to be an exciting game. There should be a bunch of points. but I've got the team with the better defense, with a solid offense, and just take the points. This would be my favorite game to tease, is take Buffalo and just get some points. Now, I'm going to cheer for Kansas City. I'm going to be mad if Kansas City loses this game, but I am sure as heck not going to wager money on Kansas City laying anything at this point. I'm going to take the points and hope they win this game by 3, 4, or 7, and my Buffalo's going to cover, and then we're good to go. Some of the tips to look at here. So as far as pass protection, Kansas City's 27th at applying pressure on the quarterback. Buffalo's 5th at protecting the quarterback. So Allen will have time to throw against our secondary, so he will make plays. Mahomes, not so much. Now, he's good either way, but Kansas City's 3rd in pass protection, but Buffalo is 4th in applying pressure. So there's going to be a little bit more struggle here, and Allen's not going to have as much struggling. And then over here in our trenches tool, you're going to look at Buffalo. They're 8th, 11th, and 7th in O-line versus D-line, 5 to 10 yard runs and 10-plus yard runs. And Kansas City, in defending those, is 26th, 29th, and 28th. So one of the prize picks plays that I had was Zack Moss over 34.5 rushing yards. He's taking the lead in the backfield. It's still a 55-45, 60-40 split, but he's had 61 and 60 yards the last 2 weeks, and his number's only 34.5 on a game with a 56.5 total. Yeah, all day I'll take that. Down here, he's even projected at 42, and he's putting up 60, so, we like that. So this is the game. Whatever you tease, add this on there. I think I'm going to add a Buffalo, Dallas, 2 teams, 6.5-point teaser for 2 units, just because I've talked myself into it. Last 2 games, let's look at them real quick. They're not going to be a significant factor. So this is the overseas game in London, I believe it is. I don't mind taking the Jets here, plus the 3, 3.5, whatever you can get. Even the money line. They're coming off of a big win last week. Their defense is decent. I mean, it's not terrible. As far as defensive yards allowed, which you can see here, they're 13th lowest versus 23rd. So they've got a slightly better, not slightly, a better defense than Atlanta, even though the yardage doesn't show it. And then offensively, both teams are not good. Atlanta's looked terrible. Calvin Ridley didn't even make the trip. I haven't seen why. They just said personal reasons. But there's no Calvin Ridley, so it's basically Kyle Pitts, Russell Gage, and Zack Moss, however you say that dude. So it's going to be those 3, and then, of course, we got Cordarrelle Patterson. But, again, you're talking about the 32nd versus the 31st offenses playing in London. No excitement there. And then a slight edge over here to the Jets defense, and they're getting 3 points on a neutral field. Like, why not? Like, if you want something just to kind of kick off your Sunday, throw some money on the Jets, see what happens. So it could win, it could lose. I don't care either way. But I would rather take the plus money on the team that's slightly better. Bobby Index has Atlanta minus 4.5. Again, that doesn't factor Ridley not being there. Cheat line as far as yards, we have it pretty much pick 22-21. I'm going to take the points here. I don't feel confident enough to tease either team. If you tease the Jets up to 9, that's not too bad. The key here is Zach Wilson. So I saw a stat on, I can't remember what game it was, if it was on the radio or I listened to so much on SiriusXM and everything, but Zach Wilson, if pressure is applied to him, his QBR rating was dirt. It was in the trash. He was not good. But Zach Wilson, if he's protected and he has time to throw, he was really good. He was a top 5 passer. So if Atlanta cannot apply pressure to him, I think they can come out and win this game. Anyways, it'll be an interesting one to watch at 9:30 in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee. So let's move on to the last game. Monday night, Indy at Baltimore. Line open at 6.5, moved out to 7. Money is pretty much split here. Anywhere between 40 and 60% on each side. Bobby Index has 5.5 Baltimore. Cheat line has Baltimore 3.5. The 2 things this tells me is that 7 is too many. I am not taking Baltimore and laying 7 points against Indy. That's the only thing this thing is pointing out. Down here at our new line we're playing with, We've got it 26-20, 27-20, so right at the Vegas line. So nothing in here is leaning to tell me to bet Baltimore. If anything, I'm going to take Indy plus the 7 points, probably by the hook, go to 7.5. I like teasing this. If you put it on a 10-pointer, you can get Indy plus 17. On a 6.5-pointer, you can get Indy up to plus 13.5. And the reason I like that is the pass defense. So Baltimore, their pass defense is giving up the 24th most passing yards per game at 273. So they've been decent against the run. Well, the one thing Wentz likes to do is throw the ball. Oh, sorry. Offensively, Baltimore's got the advantage. Defensively, Baltimore's got the slight advantage. But I think Indy can stay in this game with Jonathan Taylor, Pittman, T.Y. Hilton possibly coming back. And then you've got Pascal, Campbell. You've got some other options. I don't by any means think Baltimore is going to shut this game down and, take it 21-7 or shut it down. So we've roughly got it around 27-23. So I would lean Indy plus the points here. I'm debating teasing it up and going that route. But anyways, I think that's the end of our game. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and put our plays here. And then I'm going to add a Dallas. We're going to tease down to -1. And then Buffalo, we're going to take up to plus 8.5 for another 2 units. So these are the plays. Oh, let me darken this. Sorry, my daughter's got a timer going off in the background. So these are what I'm playing so far this week, and I'm going really light on Saints -2, Jets +3 or money line. Going to sprinkle a little bit on the Titans just for fun, but my biggest bet is going to be this 3-team 10-point teaser to go along with the 2 that I've already got going into Sunday with Tampa, Minnesota winning outright, Buffalo taking it up to 12.5. And then I think I'm going to hit 2 units here on a 2-team 6-pointer with Dallas and then take Buffalo up. So hopefully we'll get into the Sunday night game and I'll have this one going and this one going. So I'll have 8.5 and 12.5 points. So anyways, good luck, guys. I'll be in the chat all weekend. I'm going to take some cold medicine, get some breakfast, and start the weekend and look at some Prize Picks plays.